Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Today is September 17th, and news has broken that the abortion lobby got their corpse. Okay, I've said they're trying to get a woman killed. In this case, it was an actual abortion death, but they're trying to blame it on abortion laws. Amber Thurman was 28 years old, a medical assistant with dreams of going to nursing school. In the summer of 2022, she discovered that she was pregnant with twins. Now, she was a single mother, and she and her son had recently moved out of her family's home into a gated apartment complex with a pool. Adding twins to the mix was really going to derail Amber's plans, so she opted to abort the twins. Now, the heartbeat bill had gone into effect in Georgia, so she was 9 weeks pregnant with babies with heartbeats, so she couldn't abort them in Georgia, so she scheduled a 9-week surgical abortion at a North Carolina facility. Haven't been able to find out the name of the facility yet. It's just described as being a 4-hour road trip. So before sunrise on August 13th of 2022, Amber and her friend Ricaria Baker headed off, but they ran into heavy traffic on the way and arrived too late for her to keep her appointment. Now, according to Baker, clinic staff told the women that Amber could either reschedule the surgical abortion or could opt for a chemical abortion. After talking to the clinic staff and pondering the logistics of a second trip, Amber opted for the chemical abortion and took the first pill of the two-step abortion. She and her friend then returned to Georgia, and the next day, Amber took the second dose as directed. Now, over the ensuing days, Amber had the severe cramping and bleeding that are common with these at-home abortions. Now, the abortion clinic reportedly would have done a free follow-up D&C for her, but the 4-hour drive was too far away, so Amber toughed it out. Now, the evening of August 18th, the symptoms went from fairly typical for a chemical abortion to downright alarming. Amber vomited blood and passed out. Her boyfriend called 911, and medics transported Amber to Piedmont Henry Hospital in Stockbridge, which, from what I understand, is near Atlanta. They arrived at 6:51 p.m. Now, the main source for this article is ProPublica, and they report that they obtained the summary narrative of Amber's hospital stay as was provided to the Maternal Mortality Review Committee. So I'm getting this secondhand through ProPublica. Upon admission, Amber's lower abdomen was tender, her white blood count was high, and her blood pressure was low. And on one occasion, when she got up to use the bathroom, she passed out and hit her head. A pelvic exam noted a foul odor, and an ultrasound showed possible retained tissue in the uterus. Now note, this is extremely important. The ultrasound did not show 2 living fetuses. It did not show 1 living fetus. It showed 0 living fetuses. Not 1 heartbeat, not 2 heartbeats, not 1 heartbeat, 0 heartbeats. The heartbeat law could not possibly apply in this case. There wasn't a live fetus. There wasn't a dead fetus. There was 0 fetus, 0 fetuses involved in this case. So what happens is absolutely inexplicable if you assume good faith on the part of everybody at this hospital. Now, abortion activists want you to believe that the hospital is just, I don't know, scraping out retained tissue. Well, that might be illegal. We might get prosecuted for this. No, they should be prosecuted for what they actually did. If there's no fetus, you cannot do an abortion on a woman that does not contain a live embryo or fetus. The idea that an abortion law applied to this situation is so outrageous that it boggles the mind that anybody believes it. Now, I have to give them a little credit. At least they started an IV, so they treated Amber better than that Irish hospital treated Savita. But they still did not do what ProPublica falsely characterized as the newly criminalized procedure, which again, it was not criminalized. There was no fetus, not even a dead fetus, just possible retained tissue. 0 fetuses of any type. This wasn't even a case where, we're having to make a judgment call. Can we save the baby or not? No, there was no baby. Both babies were already dead and gone and out of the uterus. There was just tissue. But for some reason, they did not do the routine, perfectly legal D&C. They started some antibiotics and discussed doing a D&C the following day. Now, this was 9:38 p.m. when they had this discussion, so maybe they just didn't feel like doing it that late in the evening. By 5:14 a.m., Amber was hemorrhaging. She was given more IV fluids and antibiotics, but still they didn't do the D&C. They tested Amber for STDs and pneumonia, and they administered drugs to address her blood pressure. Now, at 6:45, due to her continued falling blood pressure, they transferred her to the ICU. But again, nobody took any steps to remove the source of the infection by performing a routine and completely legal D&C. They continued to drag their feet. At 7:14 p.m., they had another discussion about doing the obvious, but they still didn't. And again, how often do I have to say this? There wasn't even a dead fetus present. There is zero chance that anybody honestly believed they would be prosecuted for removing retained tissue. Anybody who would think you could be prosecuted for scraping out some retained tissue is just too dumb to live. But they did nothing. Around 9 a.m., lab work indicated that Amber's organs were failing, but they still did nothing. At 12:05 p.m., somebody in the ICU notified the OBGYN that Amber's condition was deteriorating, but still, nobody did anything. It was 2 p.m. before they decided to go ahead with the surgery, but by now, Amber was in such bad condition that they couldn't even just go in vaginally and do a routine D&C. They did an open abdominal surgery and discovered that her bowels were severely damaged. They didn't feel like she was stable enough to survive having the bowel removed, but they did do a hysterectomy, and then her heart stopped. She died. So ProPublica is flat out claiming that Georgia law forbids doing a D&C for a hemorrhaging woman whose uterus does not contain even a dead fetus, much less a live one. If there is no living fetus present to kill them, what you are doing is by definition what an abortion, but they want you to believe that there is some huge ambiguous gray zone. They want you to be stupid. Now, I've seen enough horrible malpractice that it is entirely possible that the staff at this hospital were a bunch of clueless dolts, that they really were too stupid and just stood around with their thumbs up their butts and watched this woman die. That's entirely possible. But the abortion advocates who are making excuses for doctors who stand around with their thumbs up their butts and watch women die, that's inexcusable. They should be going after these doctors and saying you need to do what you need to do instead of going, well, we understand you're afraid. This is absolutely inexcusable. This woman died of a botched abortion, and it's being blamed on abortion laws that did not even apply because there was not even a dead fetus, much less a live one.